one of the verses that I learned my first year at camp was Colossians 1:10, and it says, Paul's praying for the Colossians, and he said that you might walk worthy of the Lord, unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God. And I think that sums up well what we're trying to do as homeschoolers.
Hi, welcome to the Zan Tyler podcast. Thanks for joining us for the second part of this conversation with Jennifer Lont. If you missed part one, make sure you go back and listen. Jennifer is a classroom teacher turned homeschool mom. She has 2 boys who just recently earned their black belts in karate, and she has been teaching them at home for 14 years. Jennifer is a Homeworks by Precept consultant and loves encouraging moms and dads in their homeschool journeys. She will be discussing homeschool curriculum today, so make sure you join us for this encouraging episode. This podcast is brought to you by BJU Press Homeschool. Homeschooling is an exciting adventure we take with our children. One of the most challenging parts of this journey is choosing the curriculum you want to use. BJU Press Homeschool is a curriculum you can trust. All the books, resources, and videos have been designed with you and your child in mind. Their curriculum is educationally robust and rich, taking into account that children have different learning styles, strengths, and needs. Mom, you are in charge. BJU Press Homeschool is here to come alongside and support you. Do you need help with the teaching load, or is there a subject you just don't want to teach? Their amazing video courses are available for all grades and almost every subject. BJU Press Homeschool believes that homeschooling can produce a new generation of students who know God, love their neighbors, and stand firm in their faith. For more information, go to bjupresshomeschool.com. That's bjupresshomeschool.com. How is your son doing in college? How did he make the adjustment from homeschool to college?
He said that, he said our curriculum prepared him well for college. He did recommend that if people have high schoolers, to have them keep writing, because almost all of his assignments have to do with writing. He will read and then he will respond with writing. So he felt like he was prepared. He's so nerdy. He took a calculus class just because he wanted to. It wasn't required for his major, but he had to have a math class. So he had taken pre-calculus with BJU Press
Okay,
Homeschool.
so he's a nerdy black belt, is what you're telling
Yes,
us.
yes, he is. So, yeah, so he felt like that course prepared him well, and so he was just singing the praises of our curriculum too. And
Now, when you
so
say our curriculum,
yeah,
tell people what you're referring to.
so BJU Press Homeschool, I feel like I have a stake in it. It is our curriculum. We have used it from kindergarten through senior year, and we just love it. So, yes, whenever I say ours, that's what I mean.
So tell us a little bit about the BJU Press homeschool curriculum, how you decided to use it, and then we'll talk about your journey into becoming a consultant.
Sure. So, BJU Press Homeschool has several points that they are their selling points. You know, they are academically excellent. They teach critical thinking, not just facts, but critical thinking. And then
That
we've got this,
engagement we were talking about.
right,
Okay.
right. And then there's a biblical worldview. And then we've got technology. So these things, I mean, I used it in the beginning, not even realizing what riches were in it. So I've watched my boys' test scores as they move their way up through. They have performed very well, so I know academically it's great. And they don't just study for a test and forget the facts. They know things. They know so much more than I ever knew after growing up in public school, and that was partly my fault because I was just putting in my time and sitting in the seat. But they just know so much. And then watching them with the biblical worldview has been really amazing. And my biblical worldview has changed because of this curriculum. So it's in every class, and I'm not even going to say it's worked in because it starts with the biblical worldview. So it's not like a sticker, someone slapped a verse on the page and said, here's a verse about oceans. It's not like that at all. I mean, it's down to the very purpose of why are we learning grammar, Mom? You know, this is a tool God gave us. God uses words to convey his message. He wants us to use our words in certain ways. And so the more skilled you become, the more that you can use your words correctly and do the things you're trying to do with your words. So the biblical worldview has been amazing. And I know it's shaped my son's choices for the future. Not that he knows exactly what he wants to be, but he knew it needed to be something where he would be serving other people. So it's not just, I have plans for me. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do this. And in fact, it's not even just plans for the future. Like in the future, I'm going to go out and change the world. It's right now. We are using everything we learn right now. And we're going to serve everybody around us because if God put them in our path, then there are people and we have jobs right here and right now that we can do. So all of that has come through in the curriculum. We have a couple biblical worldview courses that really were fantastic. There's one for sixth grade. That one's my favorite because it's so simple and there's even humor in this book. My
And the
husband said,
title of that book is actually Biblical Worldview. When you say it's a biblical worldview textbook, that's the title of it.
yeah, the sixth grade one is Basics for a Biblical Worldview.
Okay.
And then the high school one, they just did a new edition. It used to be called Creation, Fall, Redemption, but it does say Biblical Worldview as well. So, I mean, just seeing how everything in life relates to God because this is his world. And if it's his world, there's no part of it that is not connected to him. So that's been amazing. And then just the technology.
So, all right. So I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
I want to land here for just a
Yeah.
few minutes. We actually just had our July Facebook party with Homeworks by Precept and the BJU Press Homeschool curriculum. And one of the talks I gave is when God's world is our classroom. And to me, this is where BJU Press Homeschool, like you were saying, just gets it right. And I love the fact that the basis are really the first two commandments to love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and then your neighbor as yourself. Because even in the math curriculum, there are examples of how, as a mathematician, how could I serve the culture and how can I serve my neighbor? And so you're right. It's not like, let's do a science lesson and quote a Bible verse, although there's certainly nothing wrong with quoting a Bible verse, but it's that woven in structure. I mean, they actually weave it throughout. And that has really amazed me. And I love what you say about how much it transformed your life. We've had non-Christian parents come to us and say that they were using the BJU Press Homeschool curriculum just because of the critical thinking skills and just the academic excellence, as you were talking about. But in the process, they gave their lives to Christ, and that's so exciting. I mean, it's really like are learning together, and it just it when we were in the throes, a lot of my viewers will know that I was threatened with jail, and then we lobbied for homeschooling legislation the first 8 years. The first thing that the State Department came after us for, once they started looking at real true homeschooling legislation, was you had to have a 4-year college degree to teach, and you could only use state approved text. So you couldn't use a Christian curriculum. And so that was really our fight. And my personal fight for 7 years was to make sure homeschoolers had this opportunity to use biblically based curriculum because it's life-changing for a child when you can give that to them throughout their whole school career.
I don't think people realize what they're missing either. I went to a Bible college. I am a pastor's daughter, and this curriculum helped me grow. And I think whenever you've grown up without it, you really just don't know what you're missing. And so as we went through, it was just so encouraging to keep reading about why is it that we're doing this? Why are we focusing on this or making a big deal out of this? And like I was saying before, it's about how we use our words. It's about God gave us dominion over the earth. So let's use these tools and And even we're always looking at other cultures and other beliefs. But we're not looking at them as all equally valid. We're looking at all of them as compared to the scripture because that's God's revealed truth. So it's not that when sometimes people fear if you're getting a Christian curriculum, you're putting your head in the sand. You're not. You are looking at everything that's going on in God's world. And then you're comparing it all to scripture. And so it's not just, oh, our culture is fine and that culture is bad. No, we're looking at our culture and seeing what's wrong with our culture. We're looking at religions here at home and seeing what's wrong with these religions. Um,
And really bringing every thought captive to
yeah,
Christ, as that verse says. It's
yeah,
powerful.
yeah,
I think one thing you said, Jennifer, is we have all, most of us have grown up in secular education as parents. And you get so used to education without God that we've forgotten the power that really comes. I mean, I feel like the Holy Spirit was our superintendent of education, always superintending the ebb and flow and the hearts of my children. And sometimes they would say some things to me while we were just talking or having devotions or something. And I would think, how do you know that? I never taught you that. But I think when the Bible is given free rein in a child's heart and mind and in their education, it's a powerful force to be reckoned with for good. I mean, for the neighbor, for the culture, for their hearts, for everyone.
yeah, yeah.
So, okay, so you were talking about critical thinking,
Oh, yes.
biblical worldview. I interrupted you. So we started
That's
with
okay.
academic excellence, biblical worldview, and so critical thinking and technology.
Yeah, and then the technology, I mean, that has been super helpful to me as well because it's been at least 30 years since I've taken Spanish 1, 2, and 3 and, all those. So, I have video lessons that my sons can use where they have a native Spanish speaker and they're learning from her. And so they can imitate how she's pronouncing the words, not the way I would,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Um, and just or the pre-calculus course, I didn't have to figure it out ahead of my son. Um, I still teach some courses myself in high school. I often just order the online grade kit, but then I teach what I want to. So, like with my younger son, we always do math and grammar together. That's our thing. And we learn it together. And if there's something we're not sure of, we'll watch the video together and we'll learn it together. So, but
So for those in our audience who don't know, explain the whole video course aspect of BJU Press Homeschool to
right.
people.
Okay, so we have different options in BJU Press Homeschool. There are textbook kits where you get a teacher's edition and you get student books, and it tells you in the teacher's edition what to teach, what your goals are, what kind of questions to ask to get that critical thinking going, and then what kind of answers you're looking for so you can guide your student. You don't have to make it up. But then sometimes, like mom of 10 or, moms who are working or whatever, um, or moms of high schoolers, maybe you reach a point where you just do not have enough knowledge to teach a course. We actually have video teachers. There's a studio, it's beautiful sets, beautiful extra fun segments that they add in, but there's direct instruction for your child. So they keep it at that sweet
So
spot.
it's not a teacher talking to a classroom. It's
No,
actually one video instructor talking to your child.
they're so professional, they're so engaging, they're funny too sometimes. They put all kinds of fun stuff in there for the kids, and they find this sweet spot between, giving them enough time where they haven't spent enough time on instruction, but not wasting your time. So they're not
Right.
too
S
long.
They're not 45 or 50 minutes long, which
Right.
I have seen so many video instructions that are that way. So they vary in length from probably 15 for very young children to sometimes 30 minutes, 35 minutes for older students.
Yeah, and they're just super helpful because then our kids can really be independent, especially whenever they've learned to dig in for themselves. I can be doing well, I ought to be doing the laundry and the dishes and all those things, you know? And then my son can I know he's doing his science or his history, and those teachers actually they specialize in those fields, which is really nice because I'm a jack of all trades. Even though I was a teacher, I taught all the subjects and my certificate was in K through 8. So it's nice to have someone else who really knows what they're talking about. Although I still say that I could learn with my child. This is what homeschooling is about. You do not have to be an expert to teach your
Yes,
child,
that's right.
but it is nice that they are experts. So
Yes.
there are these resources that we can draw from, and you can just choose what works for each child. It's kind of like, you don't line all your kids up at bedtime and spoon feed them all the same medicine. You give each child exactly what they need, only when they need it. So you don't need to use all the resources at once. It's kind of like you've got a walk-in closet, and there are some things that are going to be your go-to pieces that you wear all the time. And then there are going to be pieces for special occasions that you pull out every once in a while. And there will be some things that like stay in the dark corner that you never ever reach for. So
Or
it's
the
just,
twos that you can't wear anymore.
yeah, I mean, some things are going to be too hard or too easy for your child, but you just pull out what your child can need or needs and what helps them grow. That's what our goal is. It's not to check things off a list, it's to help your child grow.
So the video courses, just as a point of clarification, are available from K4 through their senior year in high school. And you can use as little, I mean, some people use no videos at all going through the BJU Press Homeschool curriculum. I have friends who have used videos for all their subjects. Um, once they get in first or second grade all the way through. And then there are other people like you've done who teach some of the subjects themselves to their children using the BJU Press resources, and others who will use the videos in some, half and half. So tell us a little bit about the hub, Jennifer, and what that does for you when you're using the video instruction.
The Hub is our online platform, but you can use it whether you're using the textbook kits or the DVDs. They have a DVD format. It's the same as online, it's just a different format if you want your kids to not be online all day. And so it gives you so many features. You can use as little or as much of it as you want. Some moms are more detail oriented and they want to like really schedule everything out and have everything perfectly, or you can just do the next thing. So
So the
you've got
hub is a scheduling tool.
Yeah, you've got a calendar in there. It gives you a daily to-do list in there. You have a grade book that you can use in there. That's where answer keys often are. It depends on what platform you're using. There are just so many resources. There are online e-textbooks that you can refer to sometimes. There are just so many resources. And so it's just been it is very user friendly, and it's been easy for me to if we need to take a day off or we've been sick, I can just add something in that says we've been sick and just shift everything in our calendar without rewriting it all. It's just amazing. So it's
So it
so
takes
many.
the place of your plan book.
It does. It takes the place of several of my paper books that I used to have, or at least a
And
couple.
and you can use the hub if you're doing, like, 3 or 4 video classes and 2 that you're teaching. You can also
Right.
plug your assignments in for the book for the courses you're teaching, not just the video courses.
Correct. And you can even make custom courses if you if you want to put in there that your child needs to pick up his clothes or whatever it is. You can put that in there, and he has to check it off, and he'll get confetti when he checks it off too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So after having used the BJU Press homeschool curriculum for a while, you decided you wanted to become a consultant.
Yes. So I was actually sort of doing that job already, just, you know, talking to my friends and whoever would listen because I was learning so much and I was getting so excited and I was just loving this homeschool life. And so after a while, I looked into it, and I guess it was right before COVID hit. that I became a consultant, which got me off to a fast start. Um,
Really?
yeah, yeah. So my boys were older. They didn't need as much from me because they were more independent. And I started doing what I really feel like God made me to do this. I love teaching. I love I loved the classroom, but I always loved home and family. And this is a way that I can combine the two things in a way that I couldn't figure out whenever I was a young woman. So I get to do all the things that I love. I get to teach. I get to talk. I get to talk to people all the time. I do events sometimes here in my home. Sometimes I travel to
Now,
hotels.
when you say events, explain what you're doing at these events for somebody who's never heard of BJU Press
Yeah,
Homeschool.
so if anyone is interested in finding out more about the curriculum or has homeschooling questions, um, I have samples of almost every book from the K-3 through 12th grade. So that my guest room is full. And we haul out books and people sit here on my couches and on my table and on my floor and they will look through the books and ask me questions and I show them the homeschool hub and we just talk. And at events like this, I'm allowed to give discounts that are better than my daily discount. And then sometimes I travel. It's a good thing I have 2 big boys because
Right.
they do my heavy lifting
Yeah.
for me. And we will set up a huge display. And sometimes it's at like a convention where there are other vendors as well. Sometimes it's at a hotel where we're the only ones there. And I just sit there and I talk and talk and talk to moms and dads. And I hear stories like sometimes I'll hear their struggles and I get to encourage them, maybe gives them some ideas or tips, things that they could try. Sometimes I just hug them. Sometimes we talk about high school is a big topic. You know, how do you do it? How do I start? What do we do about the transcript? And I'll have families say, you know, you gave us hope that we can do it too. So oh, and I like to write too. So I will often post things on my Facebook page and j I don't have to do it, but I want to do it because people tell me it encourages them. So I feel like that's a ministry that I do as part of this consulting thing, just to give sometimes it's practical tips and sometimes it's more, "Let's think about why we're doing this and let's get to the real issue here." And I try to give hope. I don't wanna ever come across like, um, that this is just hard and it's all work. It is hard and it is work, but you can do it. And so I wanna be that person that really just kind of encourages and pushes you a little further down the path.
Just to give a context for the consulting program, when I was first introduced to it, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I was just shocked at so many things. I mean, I feel like the Homeworks consulting program based on BJU Press Homeschool curriculum is really the best kept secret in the homeschooling world. We have about 200 consultants nationwide. And they're like you, Jennifer. I mean, it is about helping choose curriculum, but it's so much more than that. I mean, you give the best prices, but you also, I mean, I know you and these and the other consultants pray with their moms and dads and answer homeschool questions. And like you were talking about, answer high school questions. It's not just curriculum questions. And so it's really, you become a friend and a mentor in a lot of ways through the consulting program. I think it's just so powerful. And how does somebody find a consultant in their area, Jennifer?
We do have a map online. So if you look at homeschoolhelp.com and then /map, so homeschoolhelp.com /map, you will see a map of the United States and Canada. And you can click on your region and then it'll show little dots for where the consultants live and where events are. And if you click on an event or a consultant, you can read more about it. So like you can find a consultant who you think you're able to work with. It's good if you go to local events because then you get to see the books. That's the big perk of going to a local event. You can get to see me in person. But if you can't find anyone near you, there are some regions where we don't have as many consultants, or if you just really, really get along with one consultant in particular, you can be I mean, I have customers in other countries or all over the United States. And so we can email and text and talk on the phone and whatever it is that we need to do, so that you can get the encouragement and information that you need.
One of the things that I think, so in the early years when I started homeschooling in '84, in '85, I was introduced to BJU Press and its homeschool curriculum, which is so much more developed for the homeschooling world and community now than it was then. But they were the only publisher that would sell to me. And so they've always been supportive. But I feel like in the last 10 or so years, the work they've put into making it so much more homeschool friendly, easy to use, the hub, just all of these things. It's really, really remarkable. But I think so many people just view BJU Press Homeschool as a boxed curriculum, whatever that means, because unless it's online, it all comes in a box. But this is sort of a curriculum that jumps out of the box and springs into your kids' hearts and minds. And I have been so thrilled as I've talked with you and other consultants, the emphasis on learning styles and hands-on learning and going at your own pace and this not being a one size fits all curriculum. So I just really appreciate that, Jennifer. If you have anything else you'd like to say along those lines.
Well, it's multisensory, and, I know sometimes we gravitate towards a certain learning style, but, like, think about I heard the illustration once that where would you be in geography class if you didn't have the visuals? But then you need more than just the visuals, you need the text. And, oh, let's add in interactive video to that and audio. And it's just so many resources that just help these things really make sense to our kids and help them engage.
Well, I think that's really powerful. I love Christy Faith is an influencer who uses BJU Press Homeschool. And I love what she says because some people will look at the teacher's curriculum and say, oh, this is too much. But her take on it, which I love, is it's overwritten so that when you open up that teacher's manual, if you're not using the videos, you choose what's best for your family, the questions you want to ask or the assignments you want to do, and you don't have to do all of them. And she said it's overwritten so that you have a wealth of information to choose from as the homeschooling mom, but by no means is a dictate to use everything that's there.
Right. And if you read it verbatim, it's going to, i- i- you need to have natural conversations with your kids, is what I'm saying. So sometimes in the beginning, I would use a pencil and I would just put a little arrow next to, I want to hit on this. And I know my son needs this. And here's the big critical thinking thing in this lesson that we need to catch. Um, but you have to give yourself a little bit of time to get used to anything new. And I would say maybe about 3 weeks in, you start to know, okay, I know what elements are in this lesson every time. And I know we want to hit on this and this and this. And I know what to look for. If I need to shorten something, I can shorten it here. Or my son doesn't need that part. He's got that part.
Well, that is really powerful. So, as we close, do you have a Bible verse or any thoughts you want to share with moms and dads as they're really looking into the new school year or even beginning to homeschool for the first time?
Well, so one of the verses that I learned my first year at camp was Colossians 1:10, and it says Paul's praying for the Colossians, and he said that you might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. And I think that sums up well what we're trying to do as homeschoolers. But I want to tell you a funny story here to end. So recently I was getting discouraged about something and I wasn't going to quit or anything, but I told my son, I said, I just feel like I just want to quit. And he looked at me, he looked down at me. And he said to me something he's heard at karate recently. He said, Mom, with a twinkle in his eye, this is Mr. Humor here. He goes, Mom, you can cry, you can puke, but you can't give up. So so moms, that's what I'm here to tell you. You can cry and you can puke, but do not give up. Um, Good things come when we work hard, and working hard does not need necessarily kill your love of learning. You can have both.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so just keep being faithful and keep working at it. And as you work, you may not see your growth day by day, but when I look back over 14 years of homeschooling, I can see a difference. It is worthwhile.
Well, Jennifer, if people want to get involved in touch with you, how do they do that?
Well, my email is homeworks.lont. That's my last name, LONT @gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page. Or if you go to that map we talked about earlier, that homeschoolhelp.com/map, you can find me in Michigan. I'm down near Detroit. And you can read more about me there on that webpage and see some of the articles I've written. Hopefully, you'll find something there to encourage you on
Oh,
your
listen,
your
you have
journey.
some great articles. We just run out of time, but there's a list on how to plan the daily essentials.
Oh, yeah.
There was another one I saw. Oh, shoot, I can't find it right now. But there were several I thought, okay, these are really good articles to refer people to. And so you'll want to make sure that you visit Jennifer's website and read some of her articles. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been such a delight. And as always, you can find me at zantyler.com and on social media. We just want to thank you for joining us, and we pray that the Lord continues to bless your homeschool journey. Bye.